what a bill of lading is. Okay, the combined transport bill of lading. We cannot go in depth on that now. Okay, so there are international conventions related to the combined transport, relevant to combined transport. What they do is they set out minimum terms and conditions for the international carriage of goods. Okay, carriers. Okay, let me give you an example for it. I think you're all feeling bored by reading. I collect cargo from different shippers around the world. Okay, from here, from there, from there. I've got a ship of. This is yours, my dear.
Very sorry for interrupting.
No, it's okay. It's not as much as my wife interrupts me. Okay, good. So I collect cargo from different shippers. Okay, I charter a vessel or I buy a vessel of my own. I collect cargo from say 100 shippers from all over the world, and I go to some remote place and I sell off these goods according to my will, and I dispose of the vessel also by way of sale by changing its name. Now where can I be held accountable here? The accountability should be there. Okay, that is the reason for, that is one of the reasons. I don't think that is the reason. I'm just giving you an example. That could be one of the reasons why there should be an international convention related to combined transport. So it sets out the minimum terms and conditions for international carriage of goods. Okay. Carriers cannot contract with merchants below the terms and conditions, which could be detrimental to the merchants, because we cannot contract with the merchants, which would actually have an adverse effect for the merchants, but you can have a better or more favorable terms. Okay, and the main aim of an international convention is to regulate international carriage, and in most cases, regulate national carriage allowing freedom of contract. So this is what international convention is about. So you need to have a uniformity, as rightly said by you, okay, and a uniform law, which most of the nations, at least the major trading nations, have to follow. And then, I mean, when everything is uniform, you get a better understanding of the trade, and you get a better understanding of the law as in general. Clear? Yes. Okay, now we will go to prominent international conventions. In sea carriage, there are several rules. Okay, these are only some of them, not all. Hague Rules, 1924. Hague Vespri Rules, 1968. Hamburg Rules, Rotterdam Rules. Limitation of liability for maritime claims, LLMC. London Conventions. Lloyd's Open Forum. HNS, ISM Code, IMDT Code, blah, 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 there are lots of it. Okay, any new convention comes, they give us a set of rules, and there it is. If so many states ratify, it becomes a rule there. Otherwise, it is not. But there are so many rules as such. Okay, in land we have got the CMR, the COTIF. Okay, governing international carriage of goods by road. We have got the COTIF, which is governing the international carriage by rail. We have got the air carriage, Warsaw Convention of 1929. Okay, you know how many signatories are there for the air carriage, Warsaw Convention? More than 125. 125 nations have actually ratified Warsaw Convention related to air carriage. And then we have the combined transport, which is the ICC rules for combined transport document. So these are not I'm just touching through it, just untagged ICC and CSC conventions. That's it. Okay, now in the area of maritime carriage, there are essentially three parties. Because who prepares these conventions? Okay, you have known what international conventions are, but you should know who prepares these conventions. Okay? So in the area of maritime carriage, there are three parties who have traditionally provided for the discussion and drafting of international conventions relevant to the subject. One is CMI, one is the UNCITRAL, and the third one is IMO. Can anyone of you give definition of one of these?
International Maritime Organization.
Okay, what is CMI? CMI. And not for the lawyers, okay? Because I've got a bunch of lawyers sitting there, not for them. Others.
Cargo manifest.
No. What is ancestral? Yeah, you'll get a Snickers here. See? United Nations. Okay. We'll be having a question on this. Okay, when it comes to quiz, so that I'm reserving it for that. Okay. CMI means Comité Maritime International. UNCITRAL means United Nations Commission for International Trade and Law. And IMO is there, rightly said, it is International Maritime Organization. So you know what is Comité Maritime International? Comité Maritime International. See, every major trading nation, they have got. No, you'll get it. Don't worry. Okay, I'm coming to each of them. Comité Maritime International is that, see, all the major trading nations, they have got an association of maritime lawyers. Okay, they actually monitor the developments of maritime law in that particular country. Now, these maritime associations or maritime lawyers associations, they are subscribed to another world forum which is known as the CMI or the Comité Maritime International. If you don't get it properly, I'll just give you another example here. See, we are DSA, Dubai Shipping Agents Association. Dubai Shipping Agents Association has got, how many members?
78.
Yeah, 78 members. Dubai Shipping Agents Association has got 78 members under one body. Now this similar to the Dubai Shipping Agents Association, other countries, okay, they might also have Shipbrokers Association or the Shipping Agents Association. Now some of us or some of the associations are subscribed, okay, to another forum which is called FANASBA. Anybody can give me the full form of FANASBA? Have you heard of FANASBA?
Yes.
Yes, I know you have heard. Okay. Anyway, it means Federation of National Association of Shipbrokers and Agents. So we DSA, okay, or DSA is subscribed to that international forum which is based in UK, London. Similarly, the CMI, Comité Maritime International, is a world body, okay, which is domiciled in Belgium, and the the National Maritime Lawyers Associations are actually in major trading nations. They are subscribed to that association, which is called the CMI. So that is one of the party who drafts and drafting of the conventions which we have read. You know who that is? Standing in this form? That is a lawyer. Okay? See how pleasant he is. See the smile on his face. But what does his shadow say? You know, these lawyers, you know the speciality of vulture? They wait until you die to feed on you. Okay? That is what a vulture is, not a lawyer. They will sue me when I go out from. Okay, I'll give you a story about a lawyer. I think that'll be better. Okay. How many of you know who a barber is? All of you know. Okay. So we call them barbers in our place. I don't know what you call them here. Here they call them hairdressers. They call them saloonists. They call them beauticians. What are these? Okay. So there was a barber. Okay. It was very nice. You know, these are lovely bunch of people, these barbers, other the hairstylists. Okay, they actually decide how you have to look like. Right? Look, right? So this barber, he was having a shop, a small shop. So once a florist comes there, yeah, the person who sells flowers, he comes there, he gets a haircut. He's very satisfied with that haircut. So he asks him, how much do I have to pay you? So the barber tells him, see, you don't have to pay me anything, because I'm doing this out of pleasure. Okay? If I do a haircut, I get that pleasure. So if it is pleasing to you, that is enough for me. So the flower seller is very happy, he goes. The next day when the barber comes to open his shop, he sees one dozen bouquet. It is right up there with a small note which says that, "Thank you very much for your service. I am very pleased and this is my small gift for you." The barber is happy. He takes those flowers and displays it in his barber shop. Then a few weeks later, a few days later, the fruit seller comes there. And he has the same kind of haircut. And he asks, "How much do I have to pay?" Same thing happens. He says that I'm doing it for pleasure, not for any monetary gains. So you may please go. He says, "Thank you very much." He goes. The next day he comes to open his shop. He finds 1 dozen basket of fruits there, with a note saying that, "Thank you very much. I'm very happy." After a few days, what is that? After a few days, a lawyer comes to him. Okay. Now you know the lawyer. He comes there. The lawyers always have got questions after questions after questions. Before he sits there, he says that, "How do you cut the hair? With what kind of scissors? Have you used the scissors on somebody else? Okay, is it sterilized? Is it this? Is it that?" Oh God, the barber is fed up, but still he gives him a beautiful hair. Okay, now he says, "What is your rate, your association rate?" So, "For what?" "No, I have to pay you, but if you charge me more, then I have to sue you." He said, "No, sir, I'm not going to charge you anything because I'm doing it for pleasure. Okay, you don't have to pay me anything." The lawyer said, "Okay." He said, "So, thank you very much for that." And he goes. Next day, what does he find there?
Notice.
He finds 1 dozen lawyers waiting for a free haircut. Okay, so much for lawyers. And about lawyers, it is said that these are people who think of divorce before at the time of marriage. You know about them, no? And they are the people who don't lie only when they lie. Meaning only when they sleep. Okay, whatever that is. Okay, all major trading nations have a National Association of Maritime Lawyers responsible for monitoring developments in the maritime law in its country, making appropriate recommendations on matters relating to maritime law. These National Maritime Law Associations, like I said about FONASBA, they subscribe to an international forum known as the Comité Maritime International, which is the CMI. They are domiciled in Belgium. Their prime aim is promotion of international uniformity in the laws governing the maritime matters. They meet at an interval of approximately 4 years at a suitable venue and have approved draft rules like the York Adverb Rules of 1994 on general average, the uniform rules for seaway bills, the Hague and the Hague-Visby rules, and of course the Rotterdam rules also, which they have prepared particular. The United Nations, they say it is theirs. So much for, see, they are practical lawyers, okay, in CMI. Practical lawyers means who knows the industry very well, and they draft rules according to the needs of the industry. But it is not otherwise. They are not politicians, they are not academic lawyers, instead they are the practicing practical lawyers. All that they said about lawyers is not true in its entirety. There are different lawyers also, okay? Because some may want to sue me here. The next set is the UNCITRAL, okay, who prepares these permits.